wasn't going to make this video, but then I just came across some new information that I felt like I should share with you all. I honestly don't care for Juneteenth, okay? I think it's a ridiculous holiday. It's another way for the Democrats to pander to the black community, to give you guys a little something, you know, like a little pacifier type thing, to keep you all voting blue no matter who. And which I think is sad, because a lot of you are still following blindly and refusing to actually go out there and do your own research, which I strongly encourage you to do, because if you actually take the time to find out for yourselves, you'll see that Juneteenth is ridiculous, because the slaves were already free. And the only reason why there were still slaves in slavery was because the Democrats who owned them down off in Texas refused to set them free. They refused to abide by the law, because it was now illegal at that time to own slaves. And guess who went down there? I'm gonna leave names out because I want you all to go find out for yourselves. But guess who went down there to free those slaves, to tell the Democrats to their faces that you're illegally participating in slavery, like it's now illegal. Guess who? A Republican went down there. Oh yeah, I know you guys are burning to even hear that, because you believe the bull hockey about who's the real bad guy in politics, the right or the left, right? Because you've been programmed that way. But yes, it was a Republican who went and freed the slaves. The slaves who were still in slavery at that time. Because the Democrats, again, refused to abide by the law to free those slaves. Alright? So, that's just some information for you to go out again and find out for yourselves. And I encourage you to dig, because the internet it plays you a lot. But regardless, I came across this video, and some of the information I was already aware of, but this is a little more insightful because it directs a certain group. But I already knew that aside from Democrats who owned slaves, and of course blacks being slaves, that of course blacks were not the only slaves. White people were slaves too. Other nationalities were slaves. Germans, Irish, Asians, you know, all of them across the board. You had cultures enslaving their own, okay? You had Africans enslaving Africans. They actually still enslaving one another to this day, but y'all don't want to talk about that. But of course, you know, Africa is the motherland and you're an African American and all that BS and such. But there's a lot of historical inaccuracies that we've been programmed to believe, that have been taught in schools, that have been placed in front of us, and that's what they want you to believe. They don't want you to know the truth. Well, guess what? The truth is out now. It's been out for a while again, if you decided to actually pay attention and go do your own research and stop believing everything the corrupt mainstream media has told you, on top of those corrupt politicians. But I wanted to share this video again. I wasn't going to do anything related to Juneteenth, but I felt like I should, and after I came across this. So before I play the video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell, receive notifications for when I do release a new video. So yeah, let's roll into it.
Last day of slavery in America. You'll be surprised to find out it was not. Now, this is something that many of you may not know. I was not aware of all of this history until recently. Choctaw Indians and other Indians owned slaves. Yes, they did. It's the little secret that people don't want to mention. People always like to say that only white people own slaves. Black people own slaves. Native Americans own slaves. the practice of slavery was running rampant here in America and wasn't just relegated to the white man. Slave owning past remains a problem for Choctaws. The Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, whose members owned black slaves and fought on the side of the Confederacy in the Civil War, is now opposing federal efforts to require that descendants of the tribe's former slaves, called freedmen, be given promised rights before the tribe can receive federal housing funds. And move on down to here. This is what I want you to see. So, following the conclusion of the Civil War, the 5 slave-owning tribes in Oklahoma that fought with the Confederacy signed new treaties with the U.S. government. In the Choctaw Nation's 1866 treaty, the federal government promised the Choctaws and the Chickasaw Nation $300,000, an amount equal to roughly $4.8 million today, in return for the tribes making such laws, rules, and regulations as may be necessary to give all persons of African descent resident in the said nation at the date of the Treaty of Fort Smith and their descendants heretofore held in slavery among said nations, all the rights, privileges, and immunities, including the right of suffrage of citizens of said nations. You gotta understand something. Essentially, these Choctaw reservations, like many nations within America, they have their own laws and treaties and those kinds of things. That's what happened when the federal government made these agreements with the Native Americans. So they have their own, it's like their own little city, own little town, own little jurisdiction. And so therefore, the federal government had to make treaties with these people with these nations, in order to try to push civil rights for freedmen, black people that live in these nations. But this is what I want to show you right here. And like I said, I grew up in Mississippi, and I did not know this. I grew up around Choctaws. There was a county north of my home county, Neshoba County. There's a huge reservation up near Philadelphia, Mississippi, where the Choctaws have casinos and a big old water park. My family went to the water park. We didn't go gamble, okay? We went to the water park about 4 years ago. Very nice facility up there. So we played basketball with the Choctaws. I know about the Choctaws because the Choctaws didn't live too far from where I grew up in Meridian, Mississippi. And those of you who are listening, who are familiar with the East Mississippi area, you know about the Choctaw Indian Reservation. You know about the Choctaws down there. But I did not know about the Choctaws owning slaves. Brought to Indian Territory in the 1830s, black Choctaws arrived with the Choctaw Indians as slaves. Prior to removal, the Choctaws had been exposed to Africans in their native homeland of Mississippi. Slaves were a part of the European culture to which the Choctaws would later adapt. So what this is saying is that the Choctaw Indians, when they came back to Mississippi in around 1830, they brought with them slaves, black Choctaws. Slavery would be one of the institutions the Choctaw Nation would adopt. Chief Mashula Tubi had slaves, as did many of the Europeans who married into the nation. Slavery remained in the Choctaw Nation till 1866. You see that? Slavery remained in the Choctaw Nation till 1866. This is a year after Juneteenth, or June 19, 1865. When the Treaty of 1866, that treaty that I mentioned before, signed in Fort Smith, Arkansas, requiring that the Choctaws release their Africans from bondage. See, that's that little known history that unless you dig and research for yourself, you would never have known that.